Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, today we are going to see an important part of welding which is known as forge welding. It comes under the banner of forming process as a different object, altogether different object is formed at the end, and how it is done we are going to see in detail. Forge welding, when the name comes forging, it is a solid state welding. What happens in this? It is a simple process. Your anvil is used, your hammer is used, and the object to be forged is kept in between. It is preheated. And what happens? It is heated, it is going in a plastic stage, and you need to hammer it, and your forge welding is done. So I'll do this, I'll classify into two steps. First step is heating. You just need to heat it at a very high temperature, your object to be forged. Then you have to bring it to your anvil, and what happens is your anvil is kept ready, object is kept ready. You need to hammer it till it is used. So the heat source is superimposed on your final product. So in this diagram you can see that there is a base metal and a hammer is used, and after forge welding is done, what happens is your material get squeezed at the part where your exact welding is done. So forge welding is an initial welding process, like it can be done through hand or additional machining can be done, but your exact part where your welding takes place should be preheated. So in this diagram you can see the material to be forged is already heated. So hammering is done on the material. Also the main part is your material is coated with some additional flux or slag, which just enhances your welding process, and also the property of the flux is added to the material. So it is clearly seen how forge welding is done using a hammer, anvil, and your object coated with some flux. So I'll talk about temperature. Different material needs different temperature for their forging process. So soft iron needs a different temperature, wrought iron needs a different temperature, and if you talk about steel or other things, they need a different temperature. So the temperatures are listed below. Now I'll talk about the tools which are needed for your forge welding process. So for heating purpose you need a furnace. So in the diagram we can see two photos of a furnace. First furnace is a brighted and a lit furnace. Second furnace is about to get lit. So the two stages of a furnace, one before lighting, second after lighting, can be shown. But a furnace is a major part as it helps in heating your material, like to increase the temperature of the material. So the next part is anvil. It is the base where objects are to be kept, but it can only be used when your object is small and of the size which can be fitted in your anvil. So it has a base, it has some knife edge, and your object is placed on that and hammered. It is hard enough to sustain the load of your hammering. So these are some general forging material, like material which can be forged. You can use alloy, magnesium alloy, you can use aluminium alloy, and other non-ferrous as well as ferrous alloy for doing your normal forging process. So these are some general tools which are used. You can use a hand tool, which is very important. You need a hammer, you need an anvil, as well as you need a chisel as well as brass. So these are some general advantages. It is a noiseless process. Only the noise of the hammer is a bit thing which can't be neglected, as well as you can use any other metals or alloys. You don't have to keep it matched with each other and weld it. You can keep it in a mismatched position and welding can easily be done, and the other advantages are stated below. So these are some disadvantages. The major disadvantage of forge welding is the material which is welded cannot be disassembled or assembled again. This is the major drawback. Also, skilled labor is required for doing forge welding. No other person can do it. Low carbon steel cannot be welded. So these are some general disadvantages of forge welding. As I have told you, it is a very ancient process. There are various applications of forge welding. It can be used in an automobile industry, it can be used in shipbuilding or any of aerospace industry. Also, I'll give you a basic example of a knife, which I'll show you the picture in our next slide. It is also made by forge welding process. So this pictures show the basic example of forge welding process. There is a knife which is hardened, which is welded, which is hardened, which is welded, but hammered at the same time again and again. Also an example of a railing or a rod which is again forge welded but of a different shape and size. So if it is made, it is finished and your final shape can be obtained. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and do subscribe our channel Ekeeda.